Hello, glorious miracles of light. It's Alyssa Rushton here with your March energy update, where we're going to talk about the main energy themes for this month. And these energies are really going to work with you for the next couple of months. So I'm really excited about today's energy update. As always, if you like this energy update, please share it with your friends. It's really helpful. And remember that we're streaming live on a couple of different platforms, so your comments don't stick here. So please do come back around, pop me a comment, and let me know that you're here and that you liked this video. Okay, so let's dive into the main energy themes of this month of March. We've got a lot going on, but actually before I do, I want to preface March's energy. Many of you have been feeling the effects of the last 4 months. And so I'm literally seeing this great upheaval that's been happening in so many people's lives. And it's almost been as if the universe has been really working with you to show you very clearly what's not working in your life to prepare you for this next month of March and April. So I'm going to talk about the energy themes for March here in a moment, but I'm literally right now seeing an image of a person who's been living in a place where they know is not aligned for them and doing a job that they know isn't working for them at all. And yet they're still doing it. And over the past months, they've been given these little nudges and inklings from the universe, those soul whispers, and they've been getting louder and louder. And this imagery that I'm getting is literally kind of chaotic now, and the person has been going through this really big, sort of intense situations, all to show them that what they've been doing in their life isn't working for their now energy. And so for you, if this is resonating with you, it's almost like have graduated into a place of a new you, but there's an aspect of you that's still living the same old life. Does that make sense? So this image I'm getting of this woman, in fact, it's doing all of these old same things that she's always done, but she's a different person now, and literally that life no longer resonates. And so it's kind of been going through this upheaval time so that you can peel away the layers of the life that no longer are in resonance for you. So if that's you, this whole time has been teeing you up for the energy of March. So the first energy of March, by the way, I've got notes because I've got a lot going on. And as always, at the end, we're going to end this video with tips and takeaways. And I always get this viewer's favorite, the journal questions to ask. So I'll be asking them to you all along, but we'll do some extra at the end, because this is a big energy coming in. So with the month of March and April, you're going to be working with two kind of, it's funny, they're almost counter opposed energies. One is a big clearing away. So you're going to have more opportunities to see what hasn't been working for you. So you're going to be getting those little niggles, those little inklings, those soul nudges that really are reminding you something's not working for you. You might even have friends or relationships that feel like they're sort of at odds with who you are now, and that's part of this time frame, is clearing out this old energetic gunk. And if you can think of it like this, these people in your life, okay, they've been playing a certain role based on who you once were. And now, because of all the work you've been doing, you're literally a different person. And so the players in your life who've been playing the role need to switch up a little bit. And that's okay. And the people in your life, maybe some of them will be the same person. They'll change their role based on your upgrading. So know that that's a part of this time. If you're having those feelings of like, gosh, I don't resonate with this friend group anymore, or gosh, I don't resonate with this group of business owners anymore, that's okay. It's part of this time. You're going through a really big expansion of your energy field into something much more positive and beneficial for you, which ultimately I'm seeing March and April is a really positive and beneficial time for you, which are opening some new doorways for you. So if that's you, really want to ask yourself, like, what have you been noticing that hasn't been working for you? What's the universe been showing you kind of again and again? Those little situations or those little exchanges that you just know aren't working for you. It might even be really big too. Some of you that are going through some really big stuff, for example, where you're living isn't working with your current energy, or who you're living with isn't working with your current energy. And so March and April is a wonderful time to commence to start making changes. And I use the word commence to start because it's almost like you won't necessarily be ready to make the full changes until May or beyond, but you can start preparing and planning and creating the energetic container for that change to start to happen. You can start to think about, well, if I were going to change my living arrangements, what would I want? If I were going to live with somebody different, how would that living situation be? Let's say you have a roommate, for example. Maybe you no longer want a roommate, or maybe you want a totally different type of roommate than you've been having. So imagine and dream into, during this time of March especially, what you would most prefer, so that the universe can start to line it up for you. And it's okay to state your claim to the universe, to say, listen, I realize this does not work for my current energy, and I'm asking for support. Remember that your guides, your angels, the ascended masters, all of the universal forces have to be invited to work with you. So remember that that energy is always available for you, but you can just ask, universe, I need some support on this. Help me out. Help me create this change in a really amazing way. And that's this time frame that you can start to use this energy. But you do want to start to ask the universe for more support in making some pretty significant shifts. I get for many of you, there's some significant shifts in place. So you're starting to see these new potentials and new starts. And for many of you, there's a lot of really wonderful energy surrounding finances and growing of the finances, or growing a certain area of your life. If you are big into astrology, you can look to your birth chart and see where about 22 to 23 degrees of Pisces is in your birth chart, and look at the house of that, and you'll see what area of your life is starting to be expanded. So it's kind of a fun thing to be able to do. And let's see what else. So new potentials and new starts coming in. I'm really seeing this as almost these energies coming in that you haven't even imagined. And I'm being shown an example of somebody who's been wanting a house in a very specific town, and the universe literally wants them to be someplace else that they don't even know about, but would be so much better for their energy field, their current energy, and would actually activate and help them embody new ways of being and new skill sets. You know, the land around you helps you to energize your energy field. And so I'm literally seeing this person going, no, I want to be over here. And the universe saying, no, I actually want you over here. So letting yourself be divinely guided this month, being open to the new possibilities, the new potentials, because they're really coming in, and being supercharged around, for many of you, some financial areas. Now, on the other side, on the global stage of that, There's a big charge of energy around finances that is maybe highlighting some areas where things have been out of whack and need to get some reworking. So you might see that show up in the global stage a little more over the next coming months. But for you personally, if you've been doing a lot of the work and doing the cleanup stuff over the last few months, you're going to notice a lot of really cool new opportunities, maybe business ideas or partnerships that weren't really in your field before, but they're really now starting to come in and open up for you. So I'm hopeful that that feels really good and energizing in your system, and you can just claim that and just start to claim, yes, I'm so excited about these new possibilities and new potentials that I'm now available for, that I'm now ready for, that I made myself open to. So I'm seeing March and April as a really supercharged time for that for many of you. And remember that many of you are still you're really different people. There's a large group of you that really has changed. And I also want to speak to those of you who are watching this. We've got about almost 33,000 people on this channel now. So, for those of you who are still feeling like I'm the same person, I haven't made those changes, March and April is going to be a catalyst moments, even more so, to help you make the changes. But for those of you who've been doing a lot of this work, you're probably already, I'm guessing, in the place of you're making the dietary shifts, you're making the energetic shifts, you've cleaned up your finances, you're saving in a different way, or you're spending in a different way, you are treating your body vehicle in a different way. You're doing more things that are positive and beneficial for your new now energy system. You're not watching TV as much. You're not consuming certain types of news media as much. So many of you have made such great progress. So if that's feeling like you, give yourself a huge, just heart hug, pat on the back, and remind yourself how far you've really come, because you really have come very far. And I'm literally seeing you as a different person. And I'm also seeing this other group of folks out here who, and it's not a good or bad, it's just hasn't had the internal energy to make the outward change yet. And if that's you, if you're still feeling like you're fighting yourself or fighting this internal changes that you want to make, what I get for you specifically is that you've probably been dealing with a lot of relationship stuff and outer stuff that has got your attention directed elsewhere, and you'll finally be able to turn it inward on yourself and take a look at the places where the self is creating a lot of this and do some cleanup stuff there. And I'm really seeing this as a time to rewrite your story. So which other group you fit into here, it's a great chance to be able to rewrite the story of you, to rewrite all those challenges and all those things that you've just recently come through and make it mean something different. I'm a big fan of the Course in Miracles, and the very first lesson in A Course in Miracles is nothing means anything except the meaning you give it. And so you get to choose the meaning behind things, and you get to choose what something means to you. So now is a great time to rewrite the story. And so one thing you can do now is you can go back and think, well, what could I, if I was going to write the most empowering story version of my life that would catalyze me into the next best version of me, what would that be? And start to think about that. How would you rewrite your story? Not changing the events in any way, but speaking differently to the events that happened, speaking different to the tragedies and the chaos that happened, and really making it fuel your best, most positive evolution of you. Ultimately, I am seeing this time, some might call it, the Kali Yuga, some might call it, the times that have been predicted, but this time on the planet is really your most healing lifetime. It's the time when you get to clean up all the stuff. It's the time when you really get to embody a newer, brighter, more conscious version of you. And so this next month of March and April, it's going to be a lot of opportunities to clear out more, but so much positive, beneficial, uplifting energy. I'm feeling it be very light, effervescent quality almost when I tune into it, and sort of a calmness for you in this moment. Let's see, what else do we have here? I've got my notes because I've got so much for this energy update. Grounding in your power versus power struggles. So the next energy that's really big, both individually and collectively, is grounding into your power or having power struggles. So remember, energy works on all sides of the energy spectrum. So many of you are really going to be grounding in your power. I spoke to this just earlier, but many of you have been doing the work. You've been cleaning up your diet. You've been doing the physical body cleanup stuff and the energy body cleanup stuff. So this next couple months is going to be you really grounding through that power, bringing it in, fully embodying it so that it is now who you are. It's not something that you're trying on anymore. It's something that you just are this person. I can remember when I first went gluten-free, at first it was something I had to work at and I had to try, and now it just is who I am. It doesn't matter where I am or who I'm with. I'm always just going to be gluten-free. I'm always going to be eating healthy no matter where I am. It's just who I am. So this is about you grounding through your power. These practices and things that you've been doing are really going to galvanize in your system, and you'll feel fully embodied in them. So it doesn't feel like work anymore. It just feels like who you are and what you do. And on the opposite side of that, the energy this month is also about having some power struggles. So you're seeing this play out on the global stage. We're literally having power struggles. And this power struggle, I'm also seeing it tied into a sense of safety, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment. But this power struggle ultimately is for you and the collective to ground into your own power and to see any places or spaces where you've been letting somebody else take the power away, or somebody else tell you what to do, or somebody else's energy kind of overriding what you know is positive and healthy for you. And how I see energy work is the more you work with this energy in your system, the more then that translates to the all of it. So it's really helpful the more you ground in your power and the more you see the areas of life where you might have been giving that power away. You might have been having those boundaries. You might be letting somebody else's energy override what you know is good for you. The more you can work with it and alchemize that, the more it translates out into the world. So just know that that energy is there. And if in a relationships you're having that power struggle, remember that the strongest energy always wins. And sometimes the strongest energy is the unspoken energy. So for example, let's say that you were really wanting to make some changes in your physical body and you wanted to work out in the gym, and you have a partner who doesn't want to do that, but your energy is one that you just decide to do it. You make an appointment with yourself, you keep the appointment every day, and you go to the gym and you get the workouts in. That stronger energy is going to win out, and either your person will come along for the ride with you and match up with your energy, or you'll find a gym buddy, right? But you'll be doing that energy Instead of what has maybe been happening for many of you is the other person's energy has been winning out. And due to a variety of reasons, you've been matching their energy instead and doing things that you know aren't necessarily beneficial for you. So this is about taking some personal sovereignty power back, personal energies back, and really reclaiming those, and knowing that as you do that work, it spreads out into our planet and the countries on the planet and the people on the planet. Let's see, what else? Let's talk about safety. I'm seeing a big window of personal safety. So let's just face it, the last couple years, no matter what side of the fence you were on or what your beliefs were, asked us all to tap more so into what makes us feel safe. And so we've just come through this time of that physical body, personal safety. What is queuing up for the next months and even into 2023 and 24, dare I say, is a time where you'll go within and find personal safety at new levels and financial safety. So learning how to create that safety from within, not turning to outside sources to have the safety, but really claiming within yourself that you can be a divine creator and that you can have the experience that you want to, no matter what's going on around you. And this is something that many of you decided to do during the global pandemic, is you decided to say, no, I'm going to have my own experience, and these are the things I'm going to do for me to feel safe within my system. And you just did those things. And so now, that was with physical health. It's transitioning over towards financial health. So you're going to be given all these opportunities to galvanize and feel and hold personal safety within this self, no matter what's going on in the world. So that is something that's happening right now, and you're seeing it happen on the global stage too. So as this comes up and as this comes into your personal world, remember that you are a divine creator. Remember that you are divine energy walking around in physical form, and that as you claim more and more of that energy, that you can command in, call in exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. And I personally feel like that's why we're all going through this time, to remind ourselves of who we really are and to get the skills, because this is a physical practice. It's a physical practice of being a divine being in physical form. It's a physical practice of being able to create what you need exactly when you need to create it. And I was watching the other day a wonderful video from Greg Braden, who's been a teacher of mine for years. And he was talking about these books of the Bible that were mistranslated and how you actually create in an instant. And what he shared in the video is that when your thoughts and feelings are directed single-pointedly, you can instantly manifest. And that's ultimately it. It's a feeling that you get to say, this is the experience I'm going to have, and I'm going to have it. And you are knowing that more and more. And the more you embody your divine creator self, the quicker and faster those things start to happen. So all that to say that this time of energy is a very interesting time of energy, and it's all for you to help you get more skills, to help you embody more of these beautiful skills, and to help you become the next evolution of our human. You're like the first ones, right? You're the first ones of the next evolution for the next 300 years to come. You're I'm calling it the bridge generation. Let's see, what else? I wanted to talk briefly about unraveling from soul contracts, which is something that's really happening right now. This is big, and many of you might not be like me, or you might be like me. You might have a belief that there are soul contracts, or you might think, oh, no, there's no such thing as soul contracts. But no matter what your belief structure is, there's certain people in your life that you might feel like, I'm actually sort of done with this relationship right now. So if that is feeling like you, just know that that's a time that's happening right now, and know that that's something that you might be feeling more and more of. And I mention this because, people will often tell me in my energy work with my private clients that it's hard for them when they feel these feelings, and they try to say, no, that's not true. So one thing that you can do when you're feeling like this with a person is just really tune in and ask yourself, okay, is this true? Are we just going through a transition? And what energy can I be that's in the highest good of all? What energy can I be that would allow my relationships to transform in the highest, most positive way? And you don't need to know an answer when you ask these energy questions. Just ask the universe, what energy can I be? And the universe will start to show you what energy you can be. And you're actually activating something really cool in your system. When you say that, you're activating an opening in your energy field to start to make some shifts. Let's see, what else? Here we go. A sovereign sense of self. This is the next energy that's really up for working with this next March and April timeframe. And you're seeing it again, you're seeing it play out on the global scale between Russia and Ukraine. This sense of sovereignty. When you look back in history, from the history that we know, it's been a time of people owning countries and owning lands and owning things, and rulers telling you what to believe and telling you what to do, and us on the ground sort of following the rules. And what you're transitioning into is a time of personal sovereignty. Now, before we can have personal sovereignty on the planet, there's a whole set of things that need to happen in order for personal sovereignty to really take hold. But the more you tap into your own personal sovereignty, meaning that you don't necessarily look at the news media and be swayed by it. It's interesting to note that a month ago, our attention, if you looked at the news, or 2 months ago, was all on one topic. And now, if you look at the news, our attention is all on another topic. So notice how the outside world starts to shift and sway your own attention. And so if you remind yourself that your attention is what will give you personal sovereignty, what the energies you tune into right now will attune you to your next experiences. So if you are tapping into the news media and listening to whatever side that you're listening to, just remind yourself that that is going to tune you into that channel, as opposed to something really different, which is setting your energy first thing in the morning, setting your energy for what you want to experience during the day, setting the energy for what you'd like for the planet, setting the energy for peace and love and sovereignty and health and well-being, and really tuning into those frequencies. The more you do that on the personal level, the more it helps everybody entrain to you. I do have a belief that you are here as a light leader, as a light worker. You're sort of first boots on the ground, if you will, to embody this energy. And I literally see you as these pillars of light with thousands around you that you are not even fully aware of. That the more you tune in and the more you turn on and activate your skills and your abilities and your talents, the more people can start to resonate with the new human, with the new blueprint, which you are doing, by the way, a fantastic job of embodying and embracing. So from me to you, good work. It's not been easy for any of us, really. Let's see. Let's talk about some tips and takeaways, I think. But before we do, I just want to talk about really quickly the next few years for both you and the planet, because I think as you start to work with these energies of April and March, or March and April, I'm seeing it as more of a clear out. And for the rest of the planet who's sort of on they're on the tail end of this 2023, 2024, they're still going to be clearing out. So you might feel like a real forerunner here in the great clear out. You might feel like you've been really doing things first. You might feel like, oh gosh, I've already been through this. You can sort of see what's happening in other people's lives and think, okay, I've just recently done that, so that you know how to be of support when it happens for the others. And you want to also think about pulling more of your energy back into yourself and getting brighter and stronger, because let's face it, the last, I'd say 4 months have been very intense for a lot of people. A lot of really strong energies sort of battling each other, and you may have felt really amazing one day, and then the next day you wake up and you feel like, oh my gosh, what happened? What hit me? And that's really normal. I don't know anybody who hasn't been feeling like that. So just remember that now is a great time to go pull some energy back into yourself and fill up your cup. Do extra things to get yourself some nutrition, to ground your energy, because we're still in this clear out phase, even though we've got a lot of positive new potentials and starts, but it's sort of happening in tandem. I almost see it like a washing machine. You know how the water's kind of jostling itself back and forth and back and forth. It's clearing out and it's freshening at the same time. So that's the energy I'm seeing for the month of March. Let's dive into some tips and takeaways now. Some questions you can ask yourself that I think you'll find really positive and beneficial just to work yourself through, because sometimes when we introspect with the self, we will have to be really honest with ourselves. So I would first ask you to ask yourself, what lower energies have you been unconsciously running? For example, fear, doubt, scarcity. These lower frequency energies are all asking to come up and out and get cleared. We don't actually have to run these frequencies. We can repattern them and retrain them in our energy system. But first, we have to be very onto ourselves that we're running them. So just ask yourself, what lower energy frequencies have you been running either consciously or unconsciously? Ask yourself, where have you maybe given your power away? Maybe it's been for a lifetime, but maybe it's been for the last year or 2 years. You've been giving some power away. Where are those power leaks? Ask yourself, and I just love this one. I've been asking myself this too. What has your soul been telling you that you really do need to change that's for your highest good? And just see what comes through. For many of you, this is so funny. It's a lot around the place that you're living or who you're living with. It's really interesting. So think about how you might like that to look instead. And instead of thinking about the exact place or the exact person, go to the energy. I just did a podcast on frequency first, and how I manifested my first and second dream home. And so I talk about using frequency first. So if you're not happy with your home or the person you're living with or whatever the situation is or your business, go into the frequency. Ask yourself, what frequencies would I want to feel? What energies would I want to feel instead? And then practice feeling those energies no matter what. And then notice what changes in your world. Let's see. I've got a couple other questions here for you. What feels like an old power dynamic that you've been operating under? And maybe this is with yourself. Maybe you've been operating under an old power dynamic with yourself. For example, maybe it's your sleep cycle. Maybe you always thought your sleep cycle had to be a certain thing, and your power dynamic was your brain said, no, this has to be your sleep cycle. This is just how you do it. But then when you allow yourself to experiment and try something new, remember those new energies are coming in. for new life streams and new experiences, you're like, oh, I actually really do love waking up at this different time of the day, or I actually really do love going to bed at this different time of the night. So think about what old power dynamics you've had within yourself. Maybe this is with your finances. Maybe this is with your physical body. You've always told yourself something about your physical body, and now you're realizing, oh no, it's really different. Maybe you always thought, oh, I get so sore when I exercise. And now your new power dynamic is, I love that feeling of when my muscles feel that soreness after I work out. It feels like I'm getting really strong. So it's a fun thing to explore what power dynamics feel really outdated. And I love to go within first and then without. So you might look at your life, where are the power dynamics playing out in your relationships, in your finances. And then ask yourself, really, what have you wanting to create? What have you been wanting to create for yourself? This could be anything. For many of you, I'm seeing a lot of new business ideas come through. I was on a podcast. I was being interviewed for a podcast this morning, and I was talking about some predictions for 2022 and beyond. But many of you have been feeling like you want to create a physical product. And if that's you, boy, I encourage you to go into the energy of that. Really, let yourself do it, because we're going to come into a time when that's going to be really something that we need, and it'll be really cool to have your products out and about. So that'll be fun. But ask yourself, what have you been wanting to create more of? And then ask yourself, what have you been wanting to create less of in your life? So these are some fun energy questions to just round it up. This energy is going to be active, this clear out and fresh opportunities coming through the month of March, through April. It's really just this expanded time. But again, for you, I'm seeing it as a really positive, uplifting time. Keep tuning into those positive, uplifting frequencies. It is a choice. It's a choice to choose what channel you watch on TV, if you still watch the box. And it's a choice to choose what channel you tune into with your frequency. So I'm inviting you to just really be very consciously aware of that. Okay, my friends, I hope you loved this energy update. Please do subscribe, hit that bell notification if you're watching on YouTube, and share this energy update with a friend. It helps us, it helps the channel, and it helps your friends feel supported and like they're not alone, because we're all going through pretty significant changes right now on the planet, and I don't think that there's anyone that's going untouched through this time. So I want to thank you so much for being here. If you were with me live, come back and pop a comment. Tell me you were here. I love you. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for showing up and being a leader in this energy. It makes such a difference. Your daily energy matters. You matter, and I love you. Okay, have the best day and happy March. Bye for now.